Hi. So in the last class, we're discussing something called as a bridge rectifier. Again, that's a full wave rectifier, right? And we saw that the output waveform, when you're asked to plot the transient response. So what I mean by transient response is how is the output going to behave with respect to my input. Okay. So, sorry, how is the output going to behave with respect to time? That's what I mean by transient response. So the transient response of your bridge rectifier is exactly going to look the same way as your full wave rectifier, right? I mean, it's called as a full wave bridge rectifier, okay? But it's very important to understand why would people use a bridge rectifier, okay? Anyways, the center tap full wave rectifier was doing the job. Again, the waveform of a center tap full wave rectifier also exactly looks the same ideally. Practically there is a difference, right? I mean, practically, if you have to look at what is the output voltage, if you're using a silicon diode, center tap full wave rectifier output would be V in minus 0.7, whereas for a bridge rectifier, V out was V in minus 1.4, because you will have two diodes on at the same time, right? If it is forward biased, the way that the connections are there, there'll be always two diodes on at a particular time, right? You will end up getting V in minus 1.4, right? If you're going to look at it in this term, it appears as if your center tap full wave rectifier is better than the bridge rectifier. I'll disprove it in another 5 minutes, okay? It's not so. The center tap full wave rectifier is not better than your full wave bridge rectifier. The reason why we go for full wave bridge rectifier is because it is better in design when compared to a center tap full wave rectifier. I'll prove it in another 5 minutes. All right. So I just gave you what is the gist. So uh, at the very beginning, maybe in the first class, I told what are the parameters which are important for rectifiers, right? What are the parameters I told? I told output frequency is one parameter, rectifier efficiency is another parameter, average value, RMS value. There's one more important parameter which is very important for a rectifier, and that is peak inverse voltage. Peak inverse voltage, also called as peak reverse voltage. This is, I mean, I need not define it only for a rectifier, but it's an important parameter to differentiate why we go for a bridge rectifier when compared to a full wave rectifier. I'll tell you the definition. Please write down what is the peak inverse voltage. It is the maximum reverse bias voltage. Maximum reverse bias voltage that can be applied. That can be applied across the diode before entering breakdown region. Before entering breakdown region is the maximum reverse bias voltage that can be applied across the diode before entering the breakdown region. The definition itself is quite clear, right? I need not explain what it is. So peak inverse voltage, again, if you look at the definition, there is no rectifier circuit anywhere involved. I'm just defining peak inverse voltage as the maximum reverse bias voltage that you can apply across the diode, right? It has only got to do with the diode. Okay. What is the maximum of reverse bias voltage that you can apply across the diode before the diode enters the breakdown region? Okay, that's how you define a peak inverse voltage. Is the definition clear? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Right. Can you see me in slide 37? Can you see the slide 37?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I hope the definition is clear. Okay. So it is a maximum reverse bias voltage that you can apply across the diode before the diode enters the breakdown region, right? So let us look at for a half wave rectifier. What's the peak inverse voltage? Because it's very important to find out what is the PIV for all the cases. Can you tell me what is the PIV for a half wave rectifier? This is the half wave rectifier circuit. What is the maximum voltage, reverse bias voltage that you can apply across this diode? Say this is the input. Okay, I'll retain this as the input for all the three rectifiers. Okay, so this is VM, this is minus VM. So when it is in reverse bias, it means that I'm discussing about negative half cycle. So this is your positive half cycle, this is your negative half cycle. So when the diode is reverse biased, obviously the input will be in the negative half cycle. Am I right?
Yes,
So
sir.
can you tell me?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me? So if I mean it is in the negative half cycle, if the input is in the negative half cycle, obviously the diode is, what happens to the diode? Reverse bias, right?
Reverse open
It is open, right? What is the current flowing through the resistor?
zeros.
Zero. If the current flowing through the resistor is zero, what is the voltage across the resistor? It is zero.
Zero.
But you are asked to find out what is PIV. PIV is the voltage across the reverse bias diode. Let me call it as V. So if I write KVL in this loop, how would the KVL look like? It would be minus VM plus V equals zero, right? And what is the V here? V is your peak inverse voltage, and that is VM. What is the maximum voltage that you can apply across the diode in the reverse bias condition for a half wave rectifier? It is VM, right? Since the input maximum itself is VM, you cannot apply more than VM here in the negative direction. In the reverse bias direction, you can apply only VM. The maximum voltage in the reverse direction is VM because the input is such. Right, this is straightforward. I need not even write KVL for this because I know for sure that at the input side, the maximum voltage in the negative direction is VM, minus VM, right? So the voltage V would be VM. So your peak inverse voltage for a half wave rectifier is VM. Okay. Now first, let us find out the peak inverse voltage of all the three rectifiers, and I'll tell you why that parameter peak inverse voltage is important. Okay. Now I'm just defining what is a peak inverse voltage. It is very important for you to understand why is a peak inverse voltage important. All right. But I really hope you understood how to find out the peak inverse voltage of a half wave rectifier. Is this clear? I'll tell you why it is important maybe in another 5 minutes. I
We
hope
have
this
to
is
sum,
clear, right?
we have to sum the V to the negative maximum, sir, for always.
Sorry. Sorry.
We have to sum the V to the negative of the maximum, sir, for always condition.
See, if you go to the definition again, I need not write KVL as I already told. Maximum reverse bias voltage that you can apply across the diode. What is the maximum reverse bias voltage that this diode sees? The maximum voltage in the negative direction which the diode sees is VM, right? So that is the peak inverse voltage. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the peak inverse voltage of your half wave rectifier. Let me go to a full wave rectifier. A center tap full wave rectifier, right? So in the negative half cycle, if the turns ratio is 1:2, this would be minus Vm. This would be minus Vm. You call this as diode D1 and D2. Anyways, I will not name them now because it's not required. Tell me which diode is forward biased and which is reverse biased. The upper diode is reverse biased and the lower diode is forward biased, right? Anyways, I'm not concerned about the forward biased diode. I'm concerned only about the reverse biased diode, right? Because PIV definition is so, right? So if you write KVL in this loop, how would the equation look like? This is plus minus. So the equation is V naught. This is V, okay? The voltage across the diode. V naught sorry, the diode loop is different, right? Minus, plus, minus. So yes, tell me what is the equation? What is V naught? I mean, what is the PIV? So it will be V naught. If you're writing KVL in that loop, V naught minus V plus Vm equals 0, right? So what is your PIV equals V naught? You know, V naught would be Vm, right? Because V naught, you will end up getting V naught as Vm for a full wave rectifier. It is Vm minus V plus Vm equals 0. So what is your voltage? Vm equals, the PIV equals 2 times Vm. So for a full wave rectifier, the maximum voltage which you are getting across the diode in the reverse direction is 2 Vm. For a full wave center tapped rectifier, you are going to get the PIV, the peak inverse voltage as 2 times Vm. It is straightforward because, see again, why are we not writing KVL in this loop? We are not writing KVL in this loop because this diode is forward biased. What is PIV? PIV is the maximum reverse bias voltage that can be applied across the diode before entering the breakdown region. It is the maximum reverse bias voltage. So you have to check which diode is reverse biased first. Okay, and then write KVL across that loop to find out what is your voltage, the maximum voltage can be applied. So the maximum voltage can be applied for a center tap full wave rectifier is 2 Vm. So this is the PIV of your full wave rectifier, center tap full wave rectifier. Okay. Now, if you ask, sir, why did you replace V naught as Vm? The reason why I replaced V naught as Vm is because I know that the output voltage when this is forward bias and that is reverse bias, the maximum voltage which I can get is Vm, right? So that's what I've replaced. So this voltage is Vm, right? Am I right? So if I plot, this is what I mean. So this is Vm, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have to take the highest value of V naught is Vm. Okay. To find out what is the highest value of voltage in the reverse direction for a diode. So you end up getting Vm minus V plus Vm equals 0. So the peak inverse voltage is 2 times Vm. Is it clear? This is for a
Yes.
center tap full wave rectifier. Next, let us move on to bridge rectifier. See, again, I repeat, what I am doing here is I am trying to find out what is the PIV. I haven't told you why it is important. Okay. I'm telling you how to find out the PIV. I will tell you why it is important after finding out. Or
So in half wave also only because of that open circuit only the resistance got neglected, no sir.
only because of the open circuit only?
The resistor got neglected, no sir, because I will become zero. That's why only, no sir.
Yes, of course, right?
Yes.
This is plus, this is minus, right? Right. So in a bridge rectifier, this is the circuit, right? Plus minus V naught. See, irrespective of you take the positive half cycle or the negative half cycle, anyways, two diodes will be reverse biased for any given condition, right? As the case for a center tap full wave rectifier here, I need not take the negative half cycle here. I can take the positive half cycle example also and write the KVL in this loop. Does not matter because this diode will be reverse biased there, right? So in the same way, I can take either positive half cycle or the negative half cycle. Okay, let us take the negative half cycle. Even for the positive half cycle, it is same, right? So in the negative half cycle, tell me which diodes are on. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. Now is it right?
Yes, sir.
So this diode and this diode will be on, right? Will it be on? Is the circuit correct? Please check.
Correct, no sir.
So these two diodes will be on. How would the current flow be? The current flow will be in this direction, right? So which are the diodes which are off?
D4, sir.
Right. So if you are going to write KVL, so what will you end up getting? So it is this. So these are the diodes which are off, right? So if I erase, so these are the diodes which are off, right? Not on. I think I told on. These are the diodes which are off. I haven't named the diodes. If D1, D2, D3, and D4. D2 and D4 are off. D1 and D3 are on, right? So if you are going to look at what is the KVL, which loop, you can take either the upper loop or the lower loop. If I take the upper loop and consider this as a short circuit because it is forward biased, right? Can you tell me what is your output voltage? Your output voltage will look like minus V naught plus V equals 0, right? In this loop, in the upper loop. So your V naught, V would be equals V naught. So for a bridge rectifier, when I tell V equals V naught, what is V naught? V equals Vm. So the maximum output voltage is Vm, right? So for a bridge rectifier, what you're getting the output voltage, or sorry, the peak inverse voltage to be equals Vm. I think I made an error here. Let me write it all over again. Okay. Can you tell me what is V naught here? I'll first write what is V naught. V naught equals Vm, right? All of you agree with me? Isn't V naught
sir.
equals Vm? V naught equals Vm. Then I write KVL in this loop. If I write KVL in this loop, the loop equation would look like minus V naught plus V equals 0. Am I right? Do you agree? Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
So V would be equals V naught, and you know that V naught is same as Vm. So V equals Vm. So the peak inverse voltage for a bridge rectifier is Vm. So let me summarize.
Sir, how the
Yes.
minus V plus V naught came? So that KVL equation.
Which one?
Minus V naught plus V, or the second equation. Sir.
All I'm asking is you can write the KVL in this loop, right? This is the loop equation. Tell me what is the KVL in this loop.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now I got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
So you get a PIV of Vm for a bridge rectifier. So if I have to summarize, the PIV of your half wave rectifier is Vm. For a center tapped full wave rectifier, it is 2 Vm. For your bridge full wave rectifier, it is Vm. Now, why are these PIVs important? Or what exactly? If you have to choose between center tap full wave rectifier and bridge rectifier, just by understanding what is PIV, which one would you choose? I already told the answer. You will be choosing bridge rectifier, but why? Can you reason out why would you choose bridge rectifier? Because PIV, what is the advantage of having PIV less?
So maybe because of breakdown region, is it a thing?
Of course, it has to do with the breakdown point. Your diode should not break down pretty quickly, right? Or let me try to explain it in a different way. Okay. Have you ever given a thought of why did I only use a transformer for a center tap full wave rectifier? I did not use a transformer for a half wave rectifier or a bridge rectifier, right? Does it mean I cannot use a transformer for a half wave or a full wave rectifier? I can, of course, use a transformer for a half wave and a full wave rectifier. But the advantage is I need not worry about the turns ratio of a half wave or a full wave rectifier, right? I can use the turns ratio as 1:1, right? So let me compare apples with apples, okay? So if this is RL, so which circuit is this? Can you tell me? This is a half wave rectifier circuit, okay? Now if I use the same turns ratio for a center tap full wave rectifier as 1:1, what is the problem that you can see, or what is the disadvantage of a center tap full wave rectifier? If I use 1:1 turns ratio, if this is Vm, across the transformer, you end up getting only Vm by 2. You're not going to get the complete Vm. Only if it is 1:2. If the turns ratio is 1:2, you end up getting Vm and Vm, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I mean, if that is the case, then it means that there is a loss at the output side, right? There is a loss at the output side. Here, for a half wave rectifier, if the turns ratio is 1:1, whatever V in I am applying, the same V in appears across here. Not a problem at all. But since this is center tapped, which means that whatever input that you are giving here, and if the turns ratio is 1:1, that is halved, right? I mean, that is halved, right? You will end up getting Vm by 2 in the upper half and Vm by 2 or Vin by 2 in the lower half, right? So it means there is a loss at the input which is happening. You will not get the full output if the turns ratio are exactly same. Okay, if you're given the same transformer, then obviously, if you're comparing the center tap full wave rectifier with a bridge rectifier, let me draw a bridge rectifier. Even for a bridge rectifier, you are not concerned about the turns ratio. Why? Because you are not tapping anything at the center, right? I mean, there is no half business anywhere.
Sir,
Just a second, let me finish. So here, even if the turns ratio is 1:1, whatever input voltage I whatever input voltage I'm applying at the input appears across the secondary terminal of the transformer, right? So your input voltage getting halved is not a problem. I mean, there is no loss at the input side which is happening. Okay, in case if you're using a turns ratio of 1:1 for a half wave and for a center tap full wave rectifier and a bridge full wave rectifier, the output would look something like this. If this is the output for a bridge rectifier, the output for your center tap full wave rectifier would look something like this. This is only Vm by 2. Whereas for a bridge rectifier, this is Vm. But at the input side, you are giving the same input. At the input side, you are giving the peak input as Vm only. Right? And there is a difference of half. So Vm is 6 volts. At the center tap full wave rectifier, you get the peak voltage only as 3 volts if the turns ratio is 1:1. Okay. Now we can always argue telling, sir, then change the turns ratio from 1:1 to 1:2. Of course, you do that. But again, when there is a comparison, you compare apple with apple, right? You don't compare apple with orange. For the same input criteria, if someone asks which rectifier is better, the answer should be a bridge full wave rectifier is better. Am I clear?
So can you explain again?
Which part didn't you understand?
This turns concept, sir. I mean, how did you compare?
Okay, all right. So what I just told is, if the turns ratio is 1:2, let me not draw anything, okay? If this is Vn, what would the voltage across the transformer be? the secondary coil? If the transformer ratio is 1:2, it is stepping up, right? So the voltage here would be 2 times V in. Am I right?
Yes, sir. 2 into 8. Yeah.
Right. So what do you do in a center tap full wave rectifier is you divide this 2V in as V in the upper half, you ground this. Okay. So V in the upper half and V in the lower half. Okay. And connect a resistor. This is the connection you have. Right. Now my argument is, if your turns ratio is not 1:2, if your turns ratio is just 1:1, which means to say across the secondary coil from this node to this node, from node A to node B, what would the voltage be? It'll be same. There is no stepping up, right? It'll be Vn.
Yes, sir.
So what is the diode seeing the input as? The diode is seeing the input as Vn/2 and Vn/2, right? But input you're giving Vn. But since you have center tapped, that is getting reduced to Vn/2. Am I right? So if you apply input voltage as 3 volts, what you end up getting here is just 1.5. This is a special problem only for a full wave rectifier center tapped. But for a bridge rectifier or say half wave rectifier, it's not a problem, no? If you apply the V in here, I mean, across the secondary coil, even if the turns ratio is 1:1, anyways, you're not tapping the center. I mean, you're not grounding the center. You end up getting the same full V in across the secondary coil, and you end up getting the same V in across the secondary coil. That is the reason your PIV is same. I'll come to PIV comparison of this later. But in any case, across the secondary coil, you're getting only V in, right? You're not getting V in/2. Am I right? If you're using the same turns ratio. What is the diode seeing? The diode is seeing complete input voltage. Here, the diode is seeing only, I mean, even in a bridge rectifier, the diode is seeing the complete input voltage. But here, unfortunately, for a center tap full wave rectifier, the diode sees only half of the input voltage because it is center tapped. Did you understand?
Yes. Yes, sir. It's clear.
Any other doubt, please ask me. Someone stopped me around 5 minutes back. I told let me complete.
Sir, 1:1
You have a
means center tap now, sir.
no pa. 1:1. Who told 1:1 is? See, transformer can have any turns ratio. It has
Right.
nothing to do with the rectifier circuit at all. I can connect anything here. I need not connect a rectifier circuit here. I can connect a normal, probably your transistor here. You can have a resistor here and do this. No one forces me to connect anything here. Okay, I'm just defining what is a transformer. From the understanding what you probably have already, I am not going to discuss about transformer now. So what I'm telling is, transformer has its own turns ratio, right? Transformer is different, rectifier is different. I hope you know the difference.
Yes, sir.
Transformer is a separate entity. It is like comparing a resistor with a diode. They are two different things. But in the circuit, you use transformer and the diode to get a rectifier circuit, a full wave rectifier circuit. For a center tapping case, the reason why you're using a transformer is because you want to tap the center. What I mean by tapping the center, I want to ground the center, and I have to ensure that in both the half cycles, the current should flow. So that is the reason you do this. If you're using Vn as the input and the turns ratio is 1:1, then unfortunately at the secondary coil you will have only Vn/2 available. You don't need this, no, because the diode sees only Vn/2 at one go, right? The diode does not see the sum of Vn/2 and Vn/2. The diode does not see Vn/2 plus Vn/2 because only one diode is on at a particular time, right?
Yes,
The
sir.
peak value that you can end up getting is only Vm/2. Vm is the peak input voltage, not peak inverse voltage. Okay, Vm is this. Two different things. Vm is this.
I mean, the full wave rectifier and transformer are like only depends on the number of turns on, sir.
What is your question? Ask clearly, please.
Sir, for center tapped means taking the turns ratio as 1:1. That only, no, sir. Just
See, mister, it need not be 1:1. You can take 1:3 also. No one will stop you from taking the turns ratio 1:3. Okay. The reason why we took it as 1:2 is because it is easier for analysis. If I take the turns ratio as 1:2, in the secondary coil, this will be V in and this will be V in, because across the secondary coil, the input voltage would be 2 times V in, right? So this would be V in and this would be V in. I can take turns ratios 1:4. This will be 2 V in and this will be 2 V in. I can take 1:10. This will be 5 times V in and this will be 5 times V in. Right? I can take turns ratio anything I want to.
yes, sir.
Okay, turns ratio can be anything. But you should understand that when you are comparing a half wave rectifier, a center tap full wave rectifier, and a bridge rectifier, and you're keeping the turns ratios constant, then obviously center tap full wave rectifier has a disadvantage. Why? Because you're not getting the complete peak of the input. You're getting only half of the peak of the input, right? If the peak of the input is Vm, you end up getting the output as only Vm/2. Are you getting the point? This is very straightforward.
Yes, sir. But that is only for 1:1, sir. If we can take 1:2 means then we get
See,
Vm.
again, I told that when I ask you how is Apple when compared to Orange, what will your answer be? I mean, it is a very relative question, right? But if I ask you to compare, if I give you two apples, one is crunchy and one is not crunchy, you will tell this apple is better than this apple, right? So if you keep the transformer turns ratio as same 1:1 for all the three circuits, which circuit is better?
Then obviously bridge, sir.
Bridge rectifier is better, right?
Yes, sir.
Right? So that is
Ah,
what I'm trying. Now, I can tell that instead of, me using 1:2 here, if I use the same turns ratio as 1:2 for a bridge rectifier, what is the peak that you will end up getting? If I use 1:2 here, this will be 2 times Vn. If there will be 2 times Vn, the peak would be 2 times Vn, no? 2 times
yes.
Vm, right? But for a half wave, but for a center tap full wave rectifier, you only get Vm. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you understand?
Yes, sir. I'm getting, sir.
Is this clear
Yes, sir. Clear,
for
sir.
all? This is a very important concept to understand. Why is a bridge rectifier better than a full center tap full wave rectifier? That's the reason we proceeded to the next circuit called as a bridge rectifier. In spite of you losing out the extra 0.7, see, your output voltage was Vm minus, sorry, Vin minus 1.4, right? You're losing out the extra 0.7 volts. But in a full wave rectifier, center tap full wave rectifier, the input itself is getting halved, right? So that 0.7 volts does not make much of a difference. Again, it depends on what is the input value that you're taking. If the input value you take it as 1 volt, then the difference would be only 0.5, right? So in that case, 0.7 difference would look a bigger number. But I'm just telling, for all practical cases, it is much better to use a bridge rectifier when compared to a center tap full wave rectifier. You end up getting the peak inverse voltage this way. Okay, what is peak inverse voltage? What is the maximum reverse bias voltage that a diode sees, right? So if you're comparing this, what is the maximum reverse voltage that the diode can see? It can see VM, the peak voltage, which is VM, right? Here, what is the maximum voltage the diode can see? Again, if the turns ratio is 1:1, the diode can see only VM, right? Because this becomes only VM. It is not 2 VM. It is only VM, right? Because it's a bridge rectifier. But for a center tap full wave rectifier, what does the diode see? The diode see 2 times VM. Why? Because you have an output voltage which you will end up getting VM here. And the voltage across the, what do you call? The first diode will be VM if the turns ratio is 2, right? So that's the reason you end up getting this. The PIV is different for all the 3 circuits. Okay, so this has to do with the rectifiers. Your half wave rectifier, your center tap full wave rectifier, and your bridge rectifier. So if you're given an option of choosing any of these 3 rectifiers, without a doubt, the answer should be a bridge rectifier. Why? Because you end up getting a better average value, better efficiency, and better PIV, peak inverse voltage. Why do you end up getting better PIV? Because the whatever input that you're applying at the primary coil of the transformer, you end up getting the same input at the secondary coil if the turns ratio is 1:1. Let us not step up or step down the transformer. Okay, if the voltage is exactly same, then you end up getting the same input voltage, which means to say that your PIV would be VM. Okay, give it a thought. Okay, I've already spoon fed a lot of things. You sit, okay, and analyze. Okay, and it is not very difficult to understand that. All right, so this has to do with the rectifiers, half wave, center tap full wave, and bridge rectifier. Is it clear? Are the rectifiers clear? Please respond. If it's not clear, if you want me to repeat any particular logic, I'll be happy to repeat. Okay, but I really hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Anyone who wants me to re-explain any particular concept here? I would strongly suggest you to sit and analyze yourself also, because that would help you in understanding what is exactly happening. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So let us proceed to, what is the time now? Okay, 9:15. Okay. So I can start up with a new topic. Have you heard about something called as a Zener diode earlier?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
When did you learn about Zener diode?
Sir, in Triple E lab.
Oh, is it? So you know the concept of a Zener diode? Do you know the symbol? So this is how the Zener diode would look like. Right? And if I ask you to plot the VI characteristic of a Zener diode, so this is V and this is I. In the forward bias condition, it is going to act the same way as your PN junction diode. In the reverse bias direction, the breakdown happens. And this diode is specifically used in such a way that you have to use this diode, the Zener diode, in the breakdown condition, because there is a beautiful advantage that you can see in the breakdown condition. The advantage is, irrespective of the change in current in the negative direction. Anyways, I'll explain it in a much better way in the next class. But for people who already know, see, in the negative direction, your current keeps on increasing from this point to this point to this point, this to this point. But has the voltage changed? Voltage is almost same, no? Voltage for this current, if this current is same 2 milliamps, the voltage is same VZ. If the voltage is, if the current is 3 milliamps, what is the voltage? It is almost VZ. For 4 milliamps, it is same. For 5 milliamps, it is same. So your voltage is constant, but your current keeps on increasing, right? And that is a beautiful advantage that you can exploit. And the advantage is, what if I ask you to plot a voltage source, say if I ask you to draw, what is a voltage source? This is a voltage source, let us say. Let me call this as VDC. Okay, if I ask you to plot V versus I of this voltage source and say this VDC is 3 volts, how would you plot? Plot would look something like this, no? Irrespective of what is my current, my voltage is constant, right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
In the same way, you can exploit the Zener diode as a voltage regulator. Irrespective of what is the current, you're almost getting a flat voltage. I mean, you're getting almost the same voltage for higher current values also, right? So you can exploit this property of the Zener diode. You purposely ensure that this diode is operated only in the reverse bias condition. You don't forward bias this. If you forward bias this Zener diode, it is going to act like a PN junction diode. There is no specific purpose that you use a Zener diode in the forward bias condition. You ensure that it is always in the reverse bias condition. Okay, and make sure that the voltage what you're applying at the input side is greater than the Zener voltage. Only then it makes sense. If you apply a voltage, say if Zener voltage is 5 volts and you give a reverse bias voltage of 2 volts, obviously it is not going to act like a Zener diode, right? Because it is before the breakdown condition even occurs, right? So you have to ensure that the input voltage, whatever you apply, is greater than the Zener voltage for the Zener diode to act. Okay, let us discuss that in great detail in the next class. All right.
Sir, will you discuss this Zener topic again next class, sir?
Yes, I will.
Yes.
I just wanted to give you a heads up, but you don't know all these things.
I mean, we know breakdown, we know, sir.
Okay, so I just wanted to see what all things that you know. Okay, so you know what is a breakdown condition which occurs at the Zener diode.
Sir,
So
breakdown,
what have you?
it gets damaged only, sir, like if you give more negative elements.
Excellent that you told us.
Threshold.
See, for a PN
Threshold.
junction, for a PN junction diode, you do not want to operate in the breakdown condition. Why? Because you are damaging the diode. But Zener diode, you highly dope both the P and N junctions and ensure that you operate in breakdown condition. You want to operate this diode in breakdown condition. That's why the symbol itself is different. If not, I will use a PN junction diode symbol, no? I want to operate this diode in breakdown condition. This diode will operate only in the breakdown condition. You cannot, there is no point in operating this diode in any other condition.
Sir.
Okay?
Sir, means it will not damage, sir.
It won't damage. That's what I'm telling.
Sir.
It is not going to damage because you have highly doped both P and N side of your diode. They're not going to look at the device physics aspect of it. We are going to use the Zener diode in a circuit and explain. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, will we practically ever use these components after coming to the college to see how they work?
So see the thing is, what do you think? I mean, the current situation, when do you think the college would reopen? What is your assessment? I don't think so, at least in an year, no?
After
That's
our
what.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So you can't wait for 1 year to get hands on Zener diode, right?
Yes, sir.
You'll be learning new things, right? So in any case, I mean, we'll have labs. For this particular subject, there is no lab associated with this subject. But in the third semester, you will undergo a course again. It will be a continuation of what is the course which is happening now, called as analog electronics. Okay, there we'll have lab sessions. Okay, then we'll be using a simulation tool. Okay, so I can show all these things. These can be shown only in a simulation tool, right? So that is the best thing what can happen online, right? In the situation that we
Yes,
are in, best thing that can happen is that.
Yes, sir. Earlier, we were assuming that from the third semester, offline classes may start, but doesn't look like it now.
100% it can't start. No, I don't think so. Even fourth semester will be offline, right? You should be happy if you come to college next year. Okay, I really hope things get better.
Okay, sir.
All right. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay then. See you in the next class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, please stop the recording, sir.
I will. Thank you.